Okay, recording. Okay, for housekeeping, guys, everybody, as you come in, please, if your microphone is on, turn it off so that it does not disturb every other member in the house who is listening to the interactions. Equally, when you come into the meeting, hopefully everyone has put their names as they are. Yes, thank you. All the names are in. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Daily Briefing. Thank you very much for making the time. We do not take it for granted. We are very grateful for the partnership that we have with you in executing all what we have to execute in this movement. We thank you all for the work that you are doing on the ground. The evidence is very clear. There's a lot more people who are getting conscientized about the movement, and a lot more people who are getting onboarded on the various platforms and taking the movement forward. Today is going to be a really simple session. The first thing that we are going to talk about, we're just going to introduce a quick concept which we are working on. We still haven't finalized it, but we as we said yesterday, it is our responsibility as community members in this community to continue to think things through together, to continue to reflect together as we implement every product and solution that we are going to implement. After we have gone through that introduction, we have spent the last two sessions talking about the different models, different ways in which people can access the mailbox and the possibilities that are available transactionally on the platform with AKX, and the possibilities that are also available at the local level for some of the local transactions to be fulfilled with the local equivalent of the specified dollar price that has been set. We will really want to have a discussion with everyone in the community today. We are looking at this from our perspective, from our vantage point, and you, members of the community, what your thoughts are about this initiative related to the transactions using AKX that we have spoken about over the last 2 days or over the last two sessions. So those are the two simple things that we are going to focus on today. To start off, I'm just going to call on Dr. Linus to give his opening remarks, and then we'll delve right into it. Good evening, Dr. Linus.
Thank you very much, Brother B, and good evening, and a great welcome to everybody. Thanks for making the time to yet another session. We find these sessions extremely useful because they provide an open platform for us to exchange ideas, refine solutions to the problems that we are addressing, while continuing to remind ourselves that the two key problems we want to tackle, or that we are tackling, are that of inclusion, to ensure inclusive access for all. And the second one is to ensure that we have a common instrument for exchanging value across the community. These two are critical because we all know, and we don't need reminding, but we have to remind ourselves every time, particularly when we meet like this, that it is a problem that affects a very large percentage of people in many countries within continental Africa and the diaspora. Worldwide, it's 1.7 billion people. That is more than the entire population of the African continent. But the problem is more prolific within the continent, because we know that within the continent, as much as 91% of people in some countries are not able to access. Now, that problem has been multiplied recently by the creation of the common market, the African Continental Free Trade Area. If you have people in Nigeria struggling, now imagine how they will struggling to pay each other. Imagine how they will struggle to pay people in other 53 countries of the 54 countries within the common market. So it is a crisis, actually, and we have to find a solution for it, at least a solution that works for members of this community, and a solution that we can scale to reach every household, every business, every kingdom, every government, so that the possibility for real-time exchange of value can be a reality in our time. That's why we continue to gather. But also, we need to constantly remind ourselves that as we find solutions to these key problems, these two key problems that we keep reminding ourselves for, we also need to think outside of the box and say, how can we, now that we are able to exchange value with each other, how can we create even more value? So I think that part will be an ongoing exercise, and it's an area of great innovation. We need to be able to put our thinking caps on and start coming up with solutions that are very innovative, but solutions that create real tangible value for community members. And we are toying one of those ideas. It might sound magical, but it's not. It's actually a real possibility. And that possibility is that you might have John in New York that has $100 to send to the sister Anna in Nigeria, in Lagos. And from the $100, Anna could end up with $150 instead of the traditional way of John taking the $100, paying fees on top of it, and Anna receiving either $100 equivalent or even less in local currency. So how can we actually make that happen? We need to be thinking. There are things we could do to make that kind of scenario work. So we create value for John, we create value for Anna, we create value for other people within the community. And we do that consistently and on a scalable basis. I think it's possible, but we don't have all the answers. And sometimes we just have to come and sit like we are now and just chat and talk through some of these things and say, but how might that work? And how can we use it to really begin the transformation process and take it to another level? So welcome to this session. And I hope we're going to have an exciting session. And back to you, Brother Mbi. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opening remarks, Dr. Linus. So in essence, just getting into it directly, I would say just putting my foot into it. We have in this specific program that we are thinking about, that we are reflecting and putting some thoughts together, is a situation that is never going to stop, at least not for the foreseeable future. We are always going to have members of our community who would want access to the new digital economy and would want, and for them to get that access, they would need a mailbox. That's on the one hand. And that's a problem that we need to solve. Then we have members of our community, our family members, our friends, our brothers and sisters our mothers, our fathers, who live in other countries out of the continent and out of the diaspora environment, who also from time to time, it could be weekly, it could be every second week, every third week, they have a responsibility to send some money home. And to do that, they have to go and approach the money transfer companies to execute these transfers. That is another problem that needs a solution, which is not the traditional solution that we are used to. Traditional solution is that anyone who has that kind of need, they would go to MoneyGram, they will go to World Remit, they will go to Western Union, and they are going to go and deposit the money they want to send back to their family members at home. So these are two specific problems that require two different solutions, but which we think could be potentially connected in one way or the other, using some of the tools we have already, and maybe some tools that we may not have at the moment, which we would have to develop. So what we are talking about is a scenario where the person who would need to send value to their family, would need to send money to their family, whether they are sitting in Germany, in France, in South Africa, in the UK, in the US, in Canada, in Japan, in China, in Korea. All they would need to do is to come onto the platform and make a payment to the value that they want to send to their family members. And then on the other side, we also have country structures that are busy mobilizing the communities and identifying everyone who wants a mailbox and mobilizing the resources and centralizing it in one specific place within the country. One specific or two different types of accounts. It could be mobile accounts, it could be bank accounts, but mobilizing these resources and keeping it and having it, in the local market, ready to fulfill some of the requirements of the person who is in the diaspora wanting to send out money to their family members. And we are asking ourselves, is there not a solution here for the person who needs to send the money and the person who needs the email address? And the answer from where we sit is yes. And as a community, we are bringing it to the community right now. We've not finalized the details, but so that if there's any thought in this community around that, we would appreciate you sharing it with us. And the second element is related to the payment transactional models that we have started executing on the platform using the AKX, AKL, and the local currency. Are there any thoughts from the community around this? Because we are looking at it from our vantage point, we are looking at it from where we are. There could be things that we have missed that our community members, everyone who, members who are around the table this evening could have other specific thoughts related to this execution that we are doing at the moment. So we are really opening this up this evening with the expectation that we would come up collectively with some thoughts that would refine our present thinking and make sure that we are able to deliver the value in the way in which we have intended. So if anyone has any comments, any questions related to this, please, just raise your hand and we will take the questions and the comments right now.
Brother B, before we open up to the questions, particularly relating to the financing of the email list and the creation of value, let's put some numbers around it so that people can understand. So let me just assist in putting some numbers around it. Now, for example, we all know in this community, and we've heard this from people in Nigeria, we've heard it from people in Senegal, we've heard it from people in Malawi, South Africa, that they have many people that want to buy the mailbox, but they have the local currency, but they don't have a bank card to pay for it online. And so the idea then is that if you have John in New York, and John, I've put a post on this on Connect. Some of you may have read it, but even if you haven't read it, you can just follow the numbers. So John wants to send $100 to Anna. Anna works together with James. Now, John can pay for the mail list online. Anna and James in Lagos can receive the list and they can fill it with the numbers that they already have because they have the numbers. People are waiting to get the mailbox. But John and Anna are a bit handicapped in the sense that they don't have a way to pay for it. But once that email list comes, we all know that James would have 100 AKX. The $100 will come from John. And so they have 100 AKX plus $100 between them. The $100 was meant to go to Anna. And so between Anna and James, they now have $100 and 100 AKX, which will correspond to 100 names or 100 mailboxes. Now, each of those mailboxes, they already have people who have paid $2 and 2 Lumi for it. And so Anna and James will end up with $200 equivalent and 200 Lumi. Now, if they decide to share the profit 50-50 between them, James would keep his 100 AKX, but because they now have 200 AKX, the 100 AKX, which is profit, is split between them. So James ends up with 150 AKX. But Anna, who received the 100 that was sent in by John, can also keep the $100 equivalent, but they have $200 between them. And so you see that the $50 can go to James and $50 to Anna, which means that Anna ends up with $150 plus 50 Lumi. And James ends up with 150 Lumi plus $50. Now, we've just created value for Anna and James from a simple remittance or simple transaction that would have resulted in Anna just getting $100. Now, this is not magic. It can happen now. And so the question is, how can we unlock this kind of value across the community and scale it so that it has the impact that it needs to have, both for many hundreds of thousands of people like Anna and many hundreds of thousands of people like John and James. Now, there is something we haven't mentioned, something that is not in that post that I posted on Connect. And that something is that suddenly Anna, who would have received $100, now has $150 plus 50 Lumi. But we know that 50 Lumi at 15.96 is actually over $700. So clearly, Anna has just created some value, which is phenomenal. It's not just $150, but it is $150 plus 50 AKX. And we can debate on the value of 50 AKX. But that same 50 AKX can allow Anna to participate in a similar transaction that can then, because the 50 AKX profit that Anna has and the 50 AKX profit that John has is now enough to enter into another trade that will generate another $150 and another 50 AKX for Anna and James. And so this really got us thinking that, come on, these numbers are real because we can realize them. So how can we bring it to the community and unlock that value on a massive scale? How? So I hope by putting numbers, it sort of clarifies it a little bit. And we can now go into questions and answers to see how this might work. Now, of course, what we are saying and what we keep saying all the time is think outside of the box. Think outside of the box. And this concept, I'm going to sidetrack now. I'm going to sidetrack now. I was looking at a picture that somebody sent, and it was somebody who was incapacitated. They were sitting behind a gate, and the gate was locked. It had a key, but the key was thrown on the floor, and the person's hands could reach through the gate to open the gate so they could let themselves free. There was also a loaf of bread on the floor, and they had a choice to pick only one item. Now, of course, some people will go for the bread because they are hungry at that particular time and they need bread. Some people might go for the key because it will free them. It will liberate them. It will open the gate. And while they are outside the gate, they will find food, even though they don't know yet where the food is going to come from. But at least they're free to look for it. So we need to think outside of the box. Now, some people might argue that it's better to take the bread, but if you take the bread today, what happens tomorrow? And the day after? And the day after? When you take the key and open the gate, you might not find bread today, but you might find bread tomorrow. That could last you a whole year. But these are choices we have to make in life sometimes. And we make them every day. We are where we are as a continent, as a people. The responsibility to find the right tools, the right solutions that can enable us to break free from the current challenges is ours. I don't ever think and sit for a moment and contemplate that those solutions will come from elsewhere. They won't. That's why we come to the community and discuss some of these ideas, to pick your brains so that we can think together, work together, design, conceive the solutions together, and make them have the kind of impact that they need to have on every member of the community. Remember, it's about inclusive access. It's about delivering value. It's about exchanging value in an impactful manner. That's my piece. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for bringing the numbers to contextualize what we are talking about. As we speak, I see we already have Morotiano from Senegal. He has a sign up, so we'll start from there. And everyone else who has a comment, has a thought around these two concepts that we are knocking our heads around on. We've introduced one. We've started speaking about the other one today, just so that we get our minds stimulated bearing in mind that we have to make these things work as a community. The solutions have to come from us, not from anywhere else. Moreau. Bonsoir Moreau, votre micro est coupé. Vous avez...
Bonsoir. Bonsoir, comment vous allez?
Très bien, comment vous allez?
Tout va bien.
Absolument.
Ok, ma question c'est au niveau des inscriptions. Je suis que pour avoir la validation, chaque fois il faut passer au niveau de la boîte mail. Si vous avez, est-ce que c'est pas préférable ou bien c'est pas, vous n'avez pas programmé une autre manière pour avoir le code générateur sans que la personne passe l'adresse email de la personne pour faire la validation?
Ok, donc ça c'est une bonne question. Si vous vous rappelez, il fut un moment où on faisait les validations par mail et par message SMS.
Oui.
Nous avons toujours cette capacité, mais le prix de ça est excessivement cher pour la communauté. Parce que au lieu de mettre les ressources que nous avons derrière le message SMS, mieux vaut mettre les ressources que nous avons sur la plateforme email. On va voir dans un temps futur si on peut développer d'autres manières ou d'autres moyens de valider nos comptes sans passer, pas nécessairement seulement par l'adresse email. Mais l'adresse email est capitale pour les transactions parce que c'est sécurisé. C'est le moyen le plus sûr que vous allez avoir la capacité, la possibilité de contrôler votre compte ou bien vos comptes, tous les comptes. Donc, les messages qui viennent, vous avez la possibilité de contrôler ce qui se passe dans vos comptes. C'est la manière le plus.
Ok, merci beaucoup.
Let me just translate for the benefit of everyone who is in the meeting. He was asking whether we have not had a consideration of other possibilities for the verification of accounts. And I shared with him what we had in the past, which was 2 channels through which the messaging went out. The one was the email, and the second was the SMS. We still have that channel available to us. We turned it off because of the excessive cost that it came with. It is better for us to use those resources to keep the lights on for every other aspect of the platform, rather than taking those resources and putting it on SMS. Maybe sometime in the future, we would reactivate that. But at the moment, the surest way, the way that is most sure and most certain for every member of the community to receive transactional information is via the mailbox. It's via the mailbox. Okay. The next person is Terence Siziba. Is it from Zimbabwe or Zambia? From Zimbabwe.
Yes. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for this wonderful and fantastic presentation. I just want to ask, if I sell a mailbox to people who are migrating their accounts with $2 US, they've got already AKA or AKX, then they will give me 2 AKA or 2 AKX. what about the new people who don't have AKX and the AKL? So, because you said on the presentation yesterday that everyone is needed to be the new people, the new people and everyone in the platform, they need to have a Swift mailbox. But this person he doesn't have
So
AKX
let me
and
answer that
AKL.
very quickly,
So
and that is
how much
part
do I
of,
charge?
yeah, that is part of that is the product that you as members of the community are holding in your hands. So if there's a member who wants to join and they don't have AKL, it means they need to buy AKL to access the mailbox. How would they buy the AKL? That's when they outlay the equivalent of the local currency of $2, which would give them the mailbox, and you would have traded the AKL that you have for them to be able to access the mailbox. So it is an opportunity for members of the community, for people who come in and do not have a mailbox, do not have a Lumi in their account. Now you have the possibility of using your local currency to sell the Lumi to them, so that when you activate their account, they can immediately get the Lumi they need to start transacting on the platform. Is that clear?
Yes,
it's
clear. It's clear. So I'm going to charge him maybe about $33.
No, you're charging them.
Is that what you mean?
No, you are charging them as an agent $2, equivalent in the local currency, to cover the price of one mailbox, which you have got in the bundle, $1 equivalent in the local currency and one AKL. So the new member will pay $2 equivalent local currency to be able to access the mailbox.
Now, in the specific case where the member doesn't have AKL, I mean, there are ways that they can get the AKL. They can borrow it, for example. During the next stimulus payment, they will get 6.26. So if they had borrowed 2, they will have enough to pay back, right? Now, even though 2 Lumi, 2 AKL is the equivalent of about $31, I mean, it doesn't mean that they have to go and find $31 to pay. But if they want to do that, that is clearly an option. Why should you rule that out? Now, if that creates a market for AKL, where people are actually exchanging value with their local currency for AKL in order to access certain goods and services online, then that's what we want to achieve. We want to achieve exchange of value in real time. So once people understand that they can exchange value now, for one thing, they will start looking at exchanging value tomorrow for other things. And so we begin to drive the culture of using the digital system to exchange value for different things. I mean, today it might be email, tomorrow it might be haircut at the barber's. You know, the next day it might be food in a restaurant. Of course, you can actually get your food from a restaurant today. Go to Sister Emma's restaurant in Kenya, you should get served. There are some markets. I don't know if we have anybody in Jamaica in the room, but they had the farmers market in Jamaica where people would go and buy vegetables. But we need to create that economy. We need to create that dynamic opportunity to use Lumi to exchange value, exchange goods and services.
Thanks, Dr. Linus. You know, I
Thank you
think
very much.
we've responded to Terence. The next person is Karen.
Yes, good afternoon. It might be evening there to everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
Should I be saying MacLeod?
MacLeod, yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's MacLeod. Thank you for the opportunity and congratulations again to you guys. I know, and you know, Dr. Linus and the team, tremendous work since 2021. I've been a part of this community, and I'm so proud and happy to see where we have come. But let me quickly, two things I wanted to touch on. In answer to the question that Dr. Linus asked just now, yes, we created a farmers market. It's still a work in progress. But yes, we continue to work on it. And within our community, we have begun since 2021, started trading among ourselves. Little things, if someone has, you know, say, for example, you're a marketer and you do designs, digital, you know, material, then we trade even in a percentage, 10%, 20%. You know, Mr. Hugh Johnson, he does manufacture organic fertilizers. He started giving persons the opportunity, farmers, the opportunity to purchase 100%, but now he's down to 50% Lumi, 50% fiat. So this is how we integrate and break, you know, ourselves into using our Lumi and growing the community. Another thing that I wanted to point out, Brother Patrick, is I'm not so sure, maybe you could help me with this. For the platform, I'm still learning, you know, to grow with the developments. And so certain expressions, certain abbreviations, acronyms like the AKX, for those persons who are coming in, is there a manual guide that we could go to help us to learn the language and maneuver ourselves? That's one thing. You can answer that afterwards. And the other thing is, I've been thinking about, well, we have been discussing as part of our team how to build out the ecosystem. So we've been building relationships with our farmers, which sits at the core of that ecosystem, and providing them with fertilizers, organic fertilizers, pesticides, fungicides, and we have, you know, been helping them to, whenever they have their produce, teaching them how to use the Lumi with the trading. So I've also been concerned about, like the rest of our community, as it relates to farming and the seeds, the genetically modified seeds and all these things that comes with it, how we can begin trading, because I'm in Jamaica, you know, and I've been seriously thinking about how we can become self-sustainable as a community. And with trading with Africa, it's a bigger market. How can we get seeds? How can we get peas and beans and all of these things that are not genetically modified? Now is the time for us to start having these conversations and communicating as to what is possible, what we have to offer, and begin the trading. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. You know, I think just to go to the first question where you were asking about the manuals, your simple, where you can have a quick guide for a number of the tools, a number of the products, some of the information, is just to go onto the platform, go on to Connect, where you see courses, go onto the course dashboard, and right there you would see a number of courses. There's still a lot more inside the hub, where you see docs. You'll be able to find a lot more information and material related to different aspects of the platform. Maybe what I should do is just share my screen for anyone. You know, I'm just going to show where you go to access the general information that you are talking about on the platform. I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Okay, so I think my the Zoom streaming kicked in. So when you go onto your Connect, you come here, courses, and you go to courses dashboard. You click in here, you would see a number of courses that are in there. The second area where you would get a little bit more of those courses is under help. You go under help, you would see here docs. When you click on docs, it will also give you a range of, documents with information related to different areas of the platform. You can, let's say you go onto docs and you want to look for information related to reactivation of account. All you need to do is go on to search and say reactivation of accounts, and all the articles related to that will be made available to you. And you can read that information from there. The second very important thing that you have raised.
Thank you so much.
It's about creating value for ourselves. And that is what we are talking about. And that's where what we want to focus on going to the end of this year. Really saying, as a community, we need to create value for ourselves. And you are thinking about an ecosystem for agricultural produce, which starts from seeds. And also to make sure, we grew up, I would say that a majority of us on this continent and probably in the diaspora only until recently became exposed to food that is not organic, food that is not, it doesn't come from people's backyards, from people's small hold farms that they use to feed their families. And for that reason, the element of genetically modified seeds and products was never a concept, in our lives as people on the continent and even within the diaspora. All of that is just become a thing only in the recent past. For that reason, what you are raising is very, very important, and it's a fundamental element related to our lifestyle and our upkeep in different parts of the continent and in the diaspora. This question of regular seeds that are not genetically modified is a question that we equally have to answer as a community. So if there are any members in the community who know how people can access seeds that are not genetically modified and that they can make available to the community members, for community members to be able to purchase, whether it's part Lumi, part local fiat, or it's fully Lumi, you have to bring the products to the marketplace so that we know, so that community members know how they can access it and all of that. There are a number of these kind of initiatives that need to spring up in the different communities, around the continent and in the diaspora. We are still so excited about the vegetable market in Jamaica. In fact, we are hoping that this year is not going to run out without us coming to visit that vegetable market. So it's an important component, and as we say, we all have to come up with these suggestions and these solutions for the benefit of every member of the community. As soon as we pick up, or any one of us finds a solution, finds a product that would find value for this community, bring it to the community. We are all here looking and looking for areas where value is going to come for the benefit of every member of the community. So thank you very much for raising those 2 points, Karen.
Brother B, if I may, I'd like to jump in just to make one point, just to add one point to Karen's presentation. Is that okay?
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yes,
go ahead.
Now, one of the Karen, thank you very much. I mean, that was brilliant, excellent, and it's good to know that these initiatives are going on around us, and it's a very good example for other communities to learn from in terms of how they can mobilize themselves and create value using our single instrument of exchanging value. We may take it for granted, but the ability to want to pay somebody and to have that transaction settle in real time in front of your eyes is actually phenomenal. It's a phenomenal achievement that we have reached as a community, and we ought to celebrate it and use it to empower ourselves and empower our business processes and make good progress in our time. Now, Karen, I'm not so sure whether you have had exposure on Connect. Do you have, on Transact? Do you have a Transact account?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, but I have not yet started to use it.
You haven't started to use it, and that's exactly what I suspected.
Yes.
Because we introduced, we knew that the farmers market was going on in Jamaica. But at the same time, we went on a travel, on a tour of the continent of Africa. We visited many countries in continental Africa. And people love the idea of the Lumi, and they continue to celebrate it on how empowering it is and how transformative it is. We all believe in it. We all want to see it have the kind of impact that it will have, that it should have. But one of the questions that came up all the time was that of conversion. And some outright conversion, some were talking from the perspective of, yes, but if I go into a restaurant in South Africa that has actually agreed to accept Lumi, and I don't need to convert, but their menu is in South African Rand, and I finish my meal and they give me a bill for 100 South African Rand, how many Lumi should I transfer? Should I take out my calculator and work out how much Lumi I need to transfer? Or should I just go by the value that the restaurant owner quotes me? And the same question came up many times. That if you are in Nigeria and you want to do the same thing, what do you do? Of course, in the previous system, we had a mechanism which already allowed that. But after that experience and with the knowledge of what was going on in the farmers market in Jamaica, we really thought that we had to go back to the drawing board and create an even more powerful and even more accessible solution. And that is how Transact was born. And so Transact gives you a complete local currency experience, but the singular underlying instrument of exchange is the Lumi, the African Kingdom's Lumi. Now, I'm going to take the opportunity, if I may, to just share my screen very quickly to show you how swift, how quick, how easy, and how accessible Transact is, and how you can use it to buy vegetables in the farmers market in Jamaica. Okay, so Brother B, I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to go into Transact.
No worries.
Yes, so I'm sharing my screen now, and that's my screen. To get into Transact, you would start your application in the normal way. And by the way, we're talking about remittances. It's a 500 billion market around the world. It's not small. That's not small change. 500 billion. How can we tap into that in a meaningful way? That's why we're picking our brains. How can we bring some of that value into the community? But I'm heading to Transact. Or in fact, if you want to go there very fast and connect is slow because it's busy, you just type transact.swiffen.com. It usually takes you there much faster. So once you're in, you just log in. Okay, I'm going to log in with into my own personal account, and that's it, I'm in. It's that quick. Now, if I'm in Jamaica, then I need to just select, at the very top here, you see African Kingdoms Lumi, AKL. But I don't want to now work in AKL values. If I'm working in AKL, then of course that's fine. If I want to make a payment to somebody, I would just simply, Karen, do you have your Transact ID, Transact account number? Should look like this.
Just a moment, let me check. Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. If it's handy, please give it to me because I want to show you how that would work. So you will simply go to this menu on the top left, click on transfer, click on send money, and then you enter the account number, the Transact account number. It should start with PE. For
yes,
community traders, it starts with TA, okay? So every other account starts with PE, but these are people that you might see more often. We're still thinking of how to introduce community traders across the community and across the globe, but you will see them. So yours is PE?
Yes, it's PE 232
232
406
406
255
255
245 40. Yes.
Okay, once you've entered the number, you have to click where it says account name. So you click, and there you go, Karen Sonia McLeod. Okay, so you know that's the person, the right person you're dealing with.
Right.
If I just want to do a transaction in AKL, I just enter 1 AKL, for example, and I click submit. That's how quick it is. Now, look at this screen. It says, do you want to save this account? I'm going to click save, okay? So now, Karen, if I want to do another transaction, I don't have to worry about taking your number.
Right.
I just click a button. Now let's do it again. Let's send you another Lumi. So again, I go to transfer, send. Now I go to saved accounts and I just click on Karen and I enter 1 and I send. You see how quick it is? It's
wow, done. That's great. Yes.
Okay, but this is where it gets even more exciting. Now I'm in a restaurant in Jamaica and my bill has been brought to me in Jamaican dollars. And they've told me that my bill is 1,000 Jamaican dollars or 500 Jamaican dollars. So I would simply go to here and I will click where it says African Kingdoms Lumi, and I would select JMD, which is for Jamaican dollars. If I had access to my keyboard, I would just type it and it'll come up. But let me look for it in any case. So it will be JMD.
It's there. You
passed it.
There it is.
Right.
Okay, that's Jamaican dollars. Now, if I want to pay Karen again, but this time I'm entering the amount in Jamaican dollars, but the underlying single instrument of exchange is the Lumi. This is what I do. I go to saved accounts, I click Karen, I enter 500 because that's my amount in Jamaican dollars. I submit. Done. Now that's quick. That's faster than you can pick out a credit card from your pocket and use.
Right? That's true.
Now, if I want to see the transaction I've done, I come in here, I go to transfer, I go to transfer history, and you can see here that that transaction was for Jamaican dollars. The amount was 500, and it was to Karen Sonia McLeod. Now, the other transactions I made, the first one, the one that I sent for 1 Lumi, that was actually 2,323 Jamaican dollars. And so was that one. Okay. But Karen, this is where it gets interesting, because when I say interesting, even more interesting, because Jamaica now needs to buy seed, okay, from Nigeria, and the supplier of the seed, whether this is maize seed or whatever kind of seed, has given you an invoice that is quoted in Jamaican dollars. Well, you're sitting in Jamaica, in Kingston, Jamaica. All you have to do to pay that invoice, and again, I'm going to use Karen as though Karen is the supplier of my seeds from Nigeria. I would just select Nigerian Naira, which is NGN. And let's say that the invoice was for 1,000 Nigerian Naira. I just need to look for NGN. I think it's somewhere near the top. Okay, that's NGN, that one. So I just pick that. And now I go to make payment again, transfer, send. I'm sending to Karen. The invoice amount is 1,000 Naira, send. That transaction is done. But I'm sitting in Kingston. My supplier is in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, I am no longer in Kingston. Let's say I have traveled to Malawi and I reach Malawi. I go to my local restaurant or my local hotel in Malawi, and I need to pay my invoice in Jamaican, in Malawian kwacha. No problem. Still on the same screen, I would go to MWK, which is for Malawian kwacha. And I would pick that. That one is Kuwaiti, Malawian kwacha would be MWK. Okay. Now, of course, we have every single currency on the surface of the earth, and we can add other currencies on the fly. That's not a problem. The framework has already been built, and we did this within the last 12 months.
Is there? You went past it again.
I went past it, did I?
There.
There we are. So that's Malawian kwacha. So I just select Malawian kwacha. I go into my restaurant again. My favorite customer now is Karen. She's the one that is serving me the food in the restaurant. I just select Karen. I just enter the amount. This time is 500 Malawian kwacha. I press a button and it's done. Now, while I'm in Malawi, I get a call from Jamaica to pay for something. I just need to go and pick Jamaican dollars again. Okay. And I can do yet another transaction, this time in Jamaican dollars, 105. Done. And I'm still on the spot in Malawi. So this is the kind of transformative tool that's available right now with our Lumi. And I would encourage everyone to go to Transact and study it really closely. It is simply inclusive, and everything is in real time. It is done without outright conversion. The ultimate instrument of exchange, our singular instrument of exchange, is the Lumi. It's all here for individuals, communities, businesses, governments, kingdoms. And what we want to do is create the kind of impactful and equitable ecosystem that really brings a different kind of solution that has been brought upon us by thinking outside of the box. We need to think outside of the box. And thinking outside of the box means if I am in Jamaica and I have my Jamaican dollars and I want to go to Lagos, why should I convert it into US dollars first before I arrive in Nigeria? And then when I leave Nigeria and I want to go to Malawi, why should I take the converted Nigerian Naira and buy US dollars first before I fly to Malawi? Every time you do that, you're losing money. Why should we have to lose money every time we cross our borders? Why? And within continental Africa, there are 54 countries. over 40 different currencies. If you want to go from Nigeria to Benin, there is no border post, same people. And you will find that if you go to Zambia, you may have your relatives living in another part of the country, in another country completely. Because some time ago, some people came without asking questions, put a line in the sand, and said, today onwards, you are Zambian. And your neighbor or your family, friend, or brother or cousin is now in another country. And from henceforth, you will call yourself Zambian, and they will call themselves Malawian or some other country, you know. But all of that comes at a huge cost. But the huge cost to who? To the citizens, the people. How long are we going to continue to pay that cost without thinking outside of the box and asking the fundamental question, do I have to? Do I have to? Is there another way that I can achieve my result? And so we are on this journey, and it is such a movement. Let me, while I'm here, I'm going to play that video. I know I'm taking too much time, but this is why it is the movement that it is.
There's no audio.
Oh, no audio. Okay. If there is, all right, no audio, I rest my case. But I think I've made the point, or I hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Just before you step back, we have a question from our sister Toko. I think it's Toko from Durban. She's asking, how do I know how much 500 Jamaican dollars is in AKL? Can you respond to her?
Yes, I can. What I could do is I don't have the numbers in my head, and I don't need.
Well, we just need to show her, because yes, if you go back to that transaction you did of 500 GMD,
yes,
and you convert back to AKL, that specific transaction will be presented in AKL.
Yes, so we are here in Jamaican dollars, and I can look at my transfer history, and there was a transaction for 500 Jamaican dollars. Yeah?
Yeah.
So all I need to do, just take note of the transaction number. It starts with 2D78, okay? That's that one, 2D78. So I'm going to go now, and I'm just going to switch to African Kingdoms Lumi, which is at the very top, and then go back to the same transaction.
2D78.
2D78, 22 cents. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's just highlighted so that Toko can see. So the bottom line is that if you have done a transaction in a specific currency and you want to go back and check what is the value of that transaction in any other currency, all you need to do is just to go to the top and change the currency marker for you to be into the currency that you need to know what the value is, and go back to the transaction and you would see exactly what value. Let's just do a simple exercise. Someone, I think it's still the same person saying, wow, Ghana, okay, so maybe, I don't know whether it's just saying that is great. But let's check what that value would be in the Ghanaian cedi.
Okay, Ghana cedi is GHS.
Yeah.
So you would go and just look for GHS. Ghana cedi, Ghana cedi. Anybody sees me passing it, I often go past it. I'm looking for Ghana cedi.
Just keep going up. There.
Okay, so that's Ghanaian cedi.
Yeah.
That same transaction was 2D something, which was 2D 78. That would be 34 Ghana cedis.
2D 78, yes. That's 34.36 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
So 34 cedis, 36 bursaries.
Yes. That's that. But
so that is how simple it is. That's how simple it is. So thank you, Dr. Linus.
Yes, and the beauty is that, I mean, this opens up, this breaks down all the boundaries, right? So you can take your single instrument of exchange wherever you go with you.
Yeah.
And use it wherever you go with complete local currency experience at the touch of a button.
Yeah.
So, Sister Karen, I brought this up because of the Jamaican market. We want to see this being used as a de facto method of payment for transactions in the market. And of course, we want that to then have a domino effect all across Jamaica, across all quarters, in all areas.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm so excited now. Thank you so much. This is exciting.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm glad we have, the next person is our brother, Mike Larry.
Oh, Mike, yes. One.
But before Mike comes on, we have a direct question on the reversal of transactions, which is it possible to reverse a transaction that takes place in the marketplace? Dr. Linus, you can take
that. To reverse a transaction that takes place in the marketplace, yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Refunds can be issued. And let me say something that is very important. When you pay for something in the marketplace, the system will capture the order and send the order to the vendor. But your money has not left to go to the vendor yet. It goes into a central pool within Connect, and it stays there until such time that the periodic settlement to the vendor can be made. And one complaint about a product that you have not received, that means that money can be sent straight back into your account without any problem whatsoever. So don't worry. We would ensure that there is guarantee that in the event that the vendor doesn't deliver the product, you get your money back.
You get your money back. So reversals are fully effective on the platform. So Mike, you have the floor.
Yeah, the only thing you might have to do is submit a ticket with the order number, so that the specific order can be identified and appropriate action taken.
Thank you, Dr. Linus, for that clarity on that operation. I hope you guys can hear me clearly.
We can hear you, Mike.
Yes,
Go
Mike,
ahead.
yes.
Okay,
good evening,
nice.
Good evening.
Welcome, Karen. Nice to have you here with us. I'm trying to encourage the JLS team to plug into this daily update so we can get ourselves up to date with what's happening on a day-to-day basis. And as usual, Dr. Linus, you know me, whenever I come, I have multiple ideas that I want to throw in, but this time is a very small one, as it relates to our ecosystem. I tend to look at, you know, the different dynamics as it relates to an ecosystem, such as the one that we have here, sharing in the space with our brothers and sisters. I wanted to use the opportunity here now to probably throw at you guys something to look at, because the innovation aspect of this ecosystem is somewhat a little bit behind, and that's my perception. We all seemingly tend to sit back and assume that somebody somewhere is going to create an innovative space for us to take advantage of, other than we who are in this ecosystem be the innovators as to create. I shared this idea with a friend of mine the other day, that a little 17-year-old guy came to me very excited about the Lumi concept and said that when he leaves high school, he wants to create the first insurance company to insure all of us device accepting Lumi. And I sat down there for 2 minutes, probably more than two, probably about 5 minutes. I'm saying to myself, whoa, no, that's what I talk about when it comes on to innovation. Now, Dr. Linus, I wanted to share this with you because I wanted you to be able to organize, connect in this kind of framework where the innovation. So for those of us who are in law, we could probably just click on that tab. We would get a chance to see our profession must become a part of this ecosystem, so we can display what we are in the ecosystem. So if somebody is in the law area, that we can click on law, so we could see a whole set of people who are actually lawyers who offer that as a particular service, so we could tap into that to start cross trading. People who are in real estate, we could click on that link to say, okay, fine, these are all the persons based on their input in terms of profession. We'll be able to tap into that real estate, to have that dialogue, to be in that space, to have everybody not just in this broad space, but we have categories based on law, housing, farming, school, all of those little dynamic areas. I have a whole spreadsheet, Dr. Linus, where I could sit down with you guys to show us how we could move from a macro to a micro level to get the Lumi starting to trade among us. Because when people log into the ecosystem and look at it, yes, it looks like Facebook, it looks fantastic. One of the things, if it was up to me, it would be two colors, Dr. Linus, black and gold, nothing else. Everything
black
and gold.
Black and gold, okay.
And gold. It would just be those two colors, because what we're developing here is for the future. And as everyone here knows, the only set of money on this planet that will go into the future is those backed by gold. So I want to take us into that era where we would start to look like that in terms of our ecosystem. When people log into our ecosystem, people would see a sense of, okay, this looks like Facebook. No, I don't want that. I don't want to look like Facebook. I want us to look like the next 20 years. In terms
the future.
The future. That's what I want us to look at. So my main thing, and one other aspect, Dr. Linus, just to tweak this area. When you get onto Transact, I'm now learning that there's a difference with making a payment and sending money. Two different narratives. I could be sending current money and it will be free money because I'm just being generous. But whenever I'm making a payment, it means I'm trading some goods and services. So we maybe tweak that in the back end there to not just have send money whenever we're doing transactions, instead of having it to make a payment. Because whenever I walk into a restaurant and the person hand me that invoice to say, hey, Mike, you owe me 4,000 Jamaican dollars, I'm making a payment.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. Which could, that specific element could also be applied on the payment request.
Exactly.
Because
exactly, yes.
You know, that specific element could be applied on the payment request. So basically, when you get into, when you want to buy a product and the person wants to normally what would happen is they'll bring you the invoice, they'll bring you the bill.
Exactly.
So rather than bringing you the bill, the person could go onto their Transact and send you a payment request.
Effectively send you an electronic invoice that
you just have to click one button. And you click one button and you've paid.
You pay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So
So
that's my
so
question, everybody.
absolutely magic, Mike. Absolute magic. You are spot on the element of innovation. You are spot on. So there's something that we are working on, which we've not actually brought to the front, is an innovation community that would be on the platform in a specific interface where all the innovative ideas are being worked on and built on. And when people have any innovation and any thoughts of this sort, they throw it into that community and the innovators get to work. So we've not brought that to the front. We're still looking at how we are going to make it work and make it easy for the innovators to come in and execute their innovation. But the element of having specific professions available, specific services available for the community members. If I'm looking for a lawyer, I can go in there and find it. If I'm looking for a real estate agent, if I'm looking for whatever kind of service, I can go in there and find it. And what we are considering on the back of that is to have the fulfillment tool of the service. So not just have the service in the front, but have the fulfillment tool that takes the service to its conclusion. Dr. Linus, you wanted to say something?
Yes, very, very, very good. Thank you very much, Mike. I can think of immediately what we could do. On everybody's profile, we can add a field which just marks it as profession, and that can then be visible to everybody within the community. And if you then go into the member directory, you could search by that particular field and just get a list, so you can list all the lawyers, all the teachers, all the restaurant owners, all the entrepreneurs, all the computer scientists, and all that stuff. Great idea. We will put that. Mike, you know yourself, when we get a good one, we know it's a good one, we act on it.
If I might just add another little piece, if you may allow me that.
Yes.
There is also a real cry for real teachers. If we could drive these teachers to our platform, then it would solve all our issues in terms of marketing. We would have had the right educators here to train them up so they themselves would be able to train and teach our children about the platform. In a sense, I'm looking at a summer program where I'd probably try to get to integrate a couple of friends who are teachers to get involved with this. So I'd be able to, pay them using Lumi for the services they're offering, tutoring specific subjects, with kids for the summer using the Lumi platform. Because I think one of the biggest issues we have here as adults is that what we're doing here should be taught to the children pronto, because they are the ones who are going into the future with it. And if we keep stuck with where we are as adults with this concept, and we are yet to pass it down to them, now is the time to pass it on so that they can take it and run with it in terms of an ecosystem that they'll be able to trade among themselves without any interference of boundary issues.
Absolutely. Yeah. Could not agree more with that suggestion, Mike. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks. Every time
to share the rest of the ideas, because it's a whole heap of sheet of info that I drafted together to be able to throw at Connect, so we could get this to become, the 23rd century innovative system.
Yeah.
So I think we are due a session, Mike. I think we are due a session.
We definitely
are due a session. So we'll plan that. Yeah, we'll plan that. I think the next person that we need to take is Pule Molalugi.
Yes, Pule Molalugi, leader, greetings, great leaders in the house. Even though my apologies, I'm going to be out of the topic of the today because now yesterday I didn't manage to be part of the session. I don't know if ever this one goes to the support, or I may allow to be put it in this platform right now because now it's all about the back office. I'm struggling to bring a lot of people on board because now I've just received my link from Transact. When I'm sending to the prospects, the confirmation email doesn't go to their emails. It's going straight into the spam folder, and it doesn't have the link to confirm that particular email.
Okay. So
I don't know if ever all this have to be in this platform or has to go to the support.
You know, we can just give you a quick answer to that one. But if you have specific questions related to that, related to access and getting people on the platform, you know, you go on to the help portal and raise a ticket. Brother Patrick and his team are very much available, very active. They'll be able to help you with that. But I can already tell you why they are having the issues. They need to have the Swiffen email account. And it's the topic we were talking about earlier this evening. They need to have the Swiffen email account. Most, if not all, I would say 99% of those emails get delivered inbox with the account details, with the verification link.
Okay.
So that's the long and short of the response.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you, leader. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now I'll have to make sure that I contact the support. Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Thank
The
you.
next person, we are going to be wrapping up right now. We have two people that we are going to take, and then we would end for the evening. The first one is Emmanuel Asiant. I'm hoping Emmanuel doesn't want to raise his question of yesterday because our leader, who is responsible for the transactions, is not here this evening. They were busy in another meeting. So go ahead, Emmanuel. You know, if it's not the question from yesterday, if it's the question from yesterday, then we move it to tomorrow again. Sorry.
Okay. Well, it's not the question of yesterday anyway, although I'm still expecting the answer from yesterday questions.
Okay.
What I wanted to share here is Dr. Lionel shared powerful teaching. I love that so much. And then again, I would have suggest those conversion in different countries equivalent to their currency. I'm just saying, could it be pasted on the official website where people could know the different values of their currency per Lumi? Assuming now you just share one in Ghana cedis, how much is equivalent to Ghana cedis? And so that we can learn and know, each time we do a transaction, we can equally know, okay, this is how much it's worth in a particular country.
You see, Emmanuel, imagine that you have to keep those values of 192 countries in your head. It's been simplified on the platform. All you need to do is just go in there, click, you know, and one of the things we are trying to do is that for you to get to any of the services or execute any activity to the end, you do not click more than 3 times. The idea is that you click, you have your answer.
Okay.
So it makes it a lot easier for those values to stay within the system anytime you want to know, irrespective of the country, whether it's the Bahamas, Jamaica, Canada, Mexico, Peru, Cuba, Venezuela, any country in the world, you just go in and search. You just do a quick search and you are able to know exactly what the value is.
Perfect. Please, another one is you didn't tell us when we are gonna have a meeting. I'm speaking from Nigeria.
We are having a bit of a challenge because we are pressed to complete one of the countries, and that has actually slowed down the execution for Nigeria. As I said, we are still very hopeful that we are able to do that meeting either on Thursday or Friday, but the communication will be shared.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So the last person we are taking today is Gilbert. We had a good session with Gilbert from Burundi and his team this afternoon. And I think he has a question that he wants to. Gilbert, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Je peux parler en swahili ou en français?
Français. Je ne sais pas si Sister Emma ou les autres membres qui comprennent. Sister Emma is here. Can he speak in Kiswahili so that we can take a break, Sister Emma?
Okay.
Vous pouvez parler à Kiswahili. Sister Emma est là. Elle va partager ce que. Asante sana, asante sana.
Okay. Swali ya kwanza inahusu kwenye wa agent. Mmesema kama hiyo ingi imeisha, tumekuwa tumesema vitu ya mailbox ya nini, mkasema hivi tunaanza ingine inga ya kusema vitu wa agent, lakini hivi tunafika kama leo ni siku ya pili, atuyasikia strictire gisi ya agent itatumika. Atuyasikia strictire ya agent gisi itatumika kumainchi. Tukingali kama mu mailbox nini, tunahitaji mtuambie gisi wa agent watatumika na gisi wa agent watalipiwa kwa juu, watapana muda ya kutumika kazi. Hiyo ni swali ya kwanza.
Wacha nijibu hiyo.
Swali ya pili.
Wacha nijibu hiyo. Brother Mbi.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is talking about yesterday, Friday. You have been talking about mailbox. You have been not talking about agents, how the agent will be. You want to know how about you want to know about the agents, the process of agents.
So the process of agents has not changed. It's the same. The country structures are the same. What we are talking about is a way in which we will simplify the payment for the agent, for the members coming from the agents through the country structures to the central management team. So the executions that we have, the plans that we have for the agent in the countries has not changed.
Gilbert, nanipata. Hello, Gilbert.
Nakupata. Nakusikia.
Yeah. Brother Mbi anasema mambo ya agent bado iko kwa mpangilio, bado wanaendelea kupanga vile agents watakuwa wanalipwa na vitu zingine zote zenye zinahusika na agents.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's not changed. It's the same process that we are going for, those same models that we are using to build. We can only start improving as we go into the process.
Swali ya pili ni ya kuhusu kama nataka niulize Kwa juu mimi piko watu iko wananisumbua kama Burundi, wamejiandikisha kati ya kundi ya platform ya Swifin, lakini kwa leo sijui ni kama maombi tofauti biko wananiomba kutoka mukundi ya platform ya Swifin. Tena hao watu nimewaambia waandike maticket biko wenye wamesha andika maticket. Kila siku masimu mazonia ni familia tu inataka kutoka mwayo kundi ya platform ya Swifin. Naomba wafanye kundi ya Swifin akitaka toka, akibiomba bamulai sishie ye akiomba atoke kwa familia, naomba kutoka kundi ya platform ya Swifin.
Brother Mbi,
Yes.
Gilbert he has a challenge of one family claiming that they want to be locked out.
Okay,
from...
no. So I've had a conversation with Gilbert.
Okay.
And the family, right? So just for the benefit, there's a family that apparently they have one of their relatives who is in the US who has told them that they should get off the Swifin platform. So when I had a conversation with them, I said to them, we are going to follow a two-step process. The first thing is we need to have a conversation with the family leader who is recommending that all their family members should leave the platform. Secondly, as a public platform, we cannot just receive a list with people's names and their IDs that we should take them off the platform. The way the process would work is that each of those people, if they are adults, will need to send a ticket with their details and with an explanation of what they want and why they want what they want. And we would engage them as individuals. So that is the process that we are going to follow. So maybe
okay, thanks.
Yes. So we had the conversation already yesterday. It's a simple process, 2 steps. First thing, we need to have a conversation with the family leader.
Can you please answer? Okay.
Yeah. And then the second step,
thanks.
Because they are adults, each person should post a ticket with the details of what they want to happen with their account.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Swali ya tatu ni kwa kuhusu mimi nimeshauza ticket, piko watu wameshaniambia niwauzie kama mailbox, nimeshaitikiwa nikauza mailbox, lakini kwa muda naona ticket itakuwa expire, siyatuma majina. Nimeomba wanipatie form ya kujaza kwa juu nitumia watu nipane majina na ID zao wapatie hiyo email box. Isikue kuwa expire tena siyatuma majina na ID zao watu tena wamesha nunua hiyo email box.
Okay.
Monsieur Babi.
Oui.
Moi, j'ai déjà acheté une box.
Oui.
Pouvez-vous me donner au moins des mails les formulaires pour compléter les agents qu'on a déjà acheté email box? On dit que email box on peut expirer dans une semaine. Alors
non, il n'y a pas de... Non, il n'y a pas de problème. Votre commande, c'est 10 boîtes. C'est ça?
Oui, oui.
OK. Vous allez recevoir le fichier demain.
Ok, merci. Ok, merci.
OK. Vous allez recevoir le fichier demain.
Ok, merci beaucoup.
Right. Okay. So that, I think that is it for today night, today evening. We've dealt with all the key points that have been raised for this evening. We hope that everyone has understood some of the direction that we are going, some of the thoughts that we are reflecting on. And if any of you has any ideas that you can share, please don't hesitate. We are available. Share the thoughts so that we can keep refining and making sure that we deliver the right value for the community as required. Dr. Linus.
Yes, thank you very much, Brother B, and thanks for the participation this evening from the community members. Excellent session, great interaction, and hopefully another opportunity for all of us to walk away with some ideas that we can either be thinking or actually putting into action, and having learned one or two things from each other. Let's remember that we are addressing problems that face our community. It is a journey that we all should be on, but it's not compulsory. Some people might want to stand by the side and watch. They are welcome to do that. The solutions that we come up with will be for them too. It's absolutely for everybody, because this is about inclusive access for all, about the use of a common instrument for exchanging value for all. And we keep taking actions daily for us to get to our desired goals. And we pray for those who have faith that God should give us the guidance and the inspiration to come up with the true solutions that can help us to address our problems, so that we can see those solutions in our time and the future generation can have something to build on for the future. That's why we are gathered. That's why we continue to gather, ladies and gentlemen. The responsibility to find answers to those challenges will not come from anywhere else. We have to create them, have to conceive them, have to design them, have to implement them. We have to use them for those challenges to be resolved. And so on that note, I thank everybody for coming this evening. And we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow, and I bid you a very good night. Thank you and good night.
Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, good night, good night.